Hey folks, Daniel Kempling here. I do hope this finds you well. Thanks for letting me inside your device today. Last time we were together, the episode I called The Grand Illusion. And this grand illusion I described as a recognition that a lot of the agitation and suffering that we experience on a day to day and moment to moment basis is fundamentally a rejection of the moment, a malice towards the moment. It's not good enough. It doesn't meet our expectations. There's got to be a more acceptable set of circumstances and body sensations just around the corner if we could only get life to line up in our preferred way. Right? So this is a rough approximation of what we're talking about in this grand illusion. And I'm suggesting here that we are going to take an approach that in some ways echoes the approach of athletic excellence that, Olympians undertake in what we consider one of the highest levels of athletic performance in the world. I got this idea, during one of the Winter Olympics and it was figure skating was on. Oh gosh, this had to be 15, 20 years ago. And I really like to watch figure skating. I think it was when Patrick Chan was at his prime. Fantastic uh, male skater from Canada. And anyway, enjoyed it very much. And then remember afterwards, I was doing dishes and wondering what it would be like if doing dishes was an Olympic event. And there was a panel of judges grading me on the quality of my, attending to doing dishes and only dishes. And one of the rules would be that when the mind drifted away from dishes to, flights of fancy and speculation or worry or reminiscing or what have you, anything other than drifting of doing dishes, that the rules said you had to come back to doing dishes. And the higher score would be given to you for the length of endurance of attention that you could give to being wholly present physically through your five senses and kinesthetically in the process of doing dishes. Well, it turns out, despite all my years of training, I have the attention span of a hummingbird. Well, maybe a little bit more than that now. But it's really hard without training to stay in the moment with physical tasks for more than a brief few minutes. And this is a cause of great distress in our life. I touched on the last episode, or perhaps even the one before, what doesn't matter, the phenomena of losing your shit. I mean that not in losing your temper, but in misplacing your stuff. For me, glasses, and classically when I was building things, tape measures. Those things were always scurrying away and hiding in corners. And so it became an easy target, if you will, for one of these games that I imposed on myself. And that's what we do with this Olympics of life, is create parameters, identify problems, and give the game some rules. You impose your own rules on the game. So the problem, in this case, identified as misplacing stuff. What is the opposite of mindfulness? Well, perhaps in this case, absent-mindedness. But, as we pointed at before, it's much more than just mind. It's absent-bodiedness in a lot of ways, too. You're not embodied when you put your thing down that you later misplace. So one of the rules I set for myself when things like my glasses, my tape measure, whatever it is that I was habitually misplacing, I decided, I want to put it down with quality. But quality wasn't specific enough. Just like, no, I'm going to try harder. It doesn't work. You need something a little more. Well, as I mentioned before, you need to be frustrated in detail So give your body-mind system a specific request. And the request I found after trying a bunch of different ones was to put my tape measure down quietly. If the phone rang and I was in the middle of doing something and I had to put that tape measure down, my training was I put it down quietly, and I put it down in such a way that I would put a wine glass on a table back when I was a fine dining waiter in my youth. You know, pinky under the rim of the glass so the glass never touches the table first. There's a technique to not make any clinking sounds on a table when you're doing fine dining. So I would do that with my tape measure, or anything that I could bring my mind body to that I was placing, and I had a sense there would be a risk of not being there physically when I did that. So by doing it quietly, I found a request to the system that elicited some real quality response. Put something down quietly. If you attend to quietness, a whole host of other body skills and nervous system tunings come into play. This is but one example. And we could go, endlessly on. And I will get into some physical examples in the coming episodes. I did want to say about this Olympics of Life. I have done in previous years the very best I could in describing the physical parameters and the tuning of the body, and a series of exercises to better elicit these lines of force that are going to help you gain these lessons. And I'll attach a link below in the section below to another one of my videos here called Posture, Power, and Spirit. It's about a 43 minute piece. I produced it 14, 15 years ago. But I stand by my work, and it would be nice to be able to reference that and not have to describe the whole thing over again. So you have that as a reference, folks. Posture, Power, and Spirit. Again, there will be a link below. And while you're checking that out, please do remember to click like and click subscribe. That really helps me. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, coming back to this Olympics of Life, and we will be getting into some solid examples next time. We'll be taking the camera outside. And we are going to be looking at a couple major approaches as we begin. One is how to, when it's time to think, stop and think. And when it's time to move, stabilize before you mobilize. And again, you'll be able to reference that in Posture, Power, and Spirit if you'd like to know exactly what I'm talking about there. And lastly, we're going to touch on how to use vivid functional imagery. That is, it's really playing let's pretend with your own body-mind system and entertaining different poetic visions of movement that you insert like software into your hardware and take for a drive on the road of life. All right, folks, we're going to get to that next time. I do look forward to sharing that with you. And until such time, stay sharp. Be strong. All the best, my friends.